What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's going on with the economic calendar, what you should be watching for as time progresses. But before I break into all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, deposit $100 into the account. We're guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon. Anyways, now let's break down what's going on with the market. Looking at SPY, I mentioned to everyone that we're going to likely see this thing attempt to push up in this 488 area, and I told you to watch and see if we could try to break this. If we broke this high right here, there would have been a lot more potential for upside, but if we failed to break that, we got this rejection off 488, expected to come down to 486, and that's almost exactly where SPY ended up dropping to before trying to rebound, and now it's just kind of trading within this range, but that was very close to what the expectations were. But the question is, what's going to happen to the market? What's going to happen to SPY and these other tickers as time goes on? I'll be talking about that in just a couple of minutes, but I want to warn you guys about something very important. So, tomorrow is going to be Friday, January 26th, all right? And we have something very important coming out. 1 hour before the market opens at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the PCE data report coming out. Now, that's going to be very important because, if you don't want to hold through PCE, right, this is going to be your last chance. The next 2 hours of trading that are left for the day, that's going to be your final opportunity to exit your positions if you can't exit during the after hours or such. And if you want to hold overnight through PCE, that's also your choice. It could work out very well. But I just want to give you guys that warning about this. Now, how might PCE look? Core PCE will likely be aligned with expectations because core CPI was also aligned for the same month. But remember, CPI data, at least for the month of December, was a little bit hotter than expected the last time CPI came out. So there's going to be a risk of a little bit of a hot PCE report coming out, and that's going to likely affect the market. So you want to be very careful. But the reason why I'm personally not going to be holding anything overnight in terms of like options or short-term trades is because sometimes you don't know exactly what the reaction is going to be like, right? Just because we get a hot inflationary report, it doesn't mean the market's going to just start crashing as soon as the next day comes. It's also possible that the market gaps up and then starts dropping at open or something completely different because the market is not super formal. It doesn't follow every single rule in the book, and there's a lot of manipulation that dictates it. And that's why I'm going to try to be very careful. But if you're confident there's going to be a bigger sell-off coming by next week or so, you're free to hold whatever options you want. You could still make crazy money, in my opinion. So it's your choice. I just wanted to give you guys a warning about that for all these other tickers out there. Now, another thing that's making a lot of the headlines is Tesla. Tesla is on the verge of erasing about $70 billion in valuation after the news that came out yesterday about their earnings. Tesla missed on earnings, unfortunately. And on top of that, I just want to mention that their potential production growth is going to likely be lower than what we got from last year. So it's very unfortunate for Tesla, and Tesla's continuing to take big hits. So I'll be talking about that in just a few minutes. Now let's talk about SPY. How is it looking? So basically, we have this tight resistance, very strong resistance at 488. That's the resistance that stops SPY today, and our supports around 486. That's holding this thing up. For today, it might remain within this range as time goes on, trading back and forth and back and forth. But just be very careful, especially heading into tomorrow, since we have more data potentially coming out. Now, on SPY, we had a very nice looking head and shoulders like setup. We had this left shoulder, this head, and this right shoulder that formed, which led to this sell off that came. There is a risk of more downside, in my opinion, so you want to be very careful at this level. But just know that despite that, things could change tomorrow. Excuse me. I apologize, guys. Things could change tomorrow depending on what happens with the inflationary data. So watch for that very carefully. But besides that, now let's talk about something else. So we might just remain range bound. There is a risk of a little bit more selling for the end of the day, but just be very careful. For the QQQ, we were talking about this thing potentially pumping and then dumping. You could see we came up to this 429 area and we failed to break this high right here to push into the 430s. Since we failed to do so, we got this big rejection. We ended up coming down to about 425. Now we're just trading very sideways in this range. If we continue to sell off, there's a risk of it coming down to 424. As of right now, we're kind of shuffling the 426s. We may just continue to do so. The market's looking very flat, so I think the QQQ may follow the trend. But now the question is, what about for Tesla? So the QQQ may shuffle a bit within this range, but Tesla is looking very, very weak. Okay. This thing was at 208 yesterday. Now we're at the 180 area. It took a massive, massive, massive hit. Very, very crazy stuff for Tesla. We're barely holding basically this 180 support right here. Let me just draw a support trend line right here just to show you guys. So we're holding this. I think it's very simple. If we lose 180, we're going to drop all the way down to 175, I believe. It's not looking too good. There's some support trying to hold it up here. We're going to be watching to see how well Tesla could hold. If we try to rebound, watch 184 to 185. Above that, we have this resistance at 186.5 to 188. So this range up here, let me just redraw this for you guys. We have this range right here, which is going to be our next resistance area right here. Then we have 190. If you want to turn back to, some more upside, you want to get back above 190. We're very far from that resistance. Otherwise, we're just going to continue sinking. And we're just shuffling in the very low 180s. So Tesla's been smacked very, very, very hard. There's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubts about the company right now. The media is just drooling at all this news about Tesla that's horrible. They're so excited to report all this bad news, and it caused Tesla to sell off like crazy. Now, this is common. Tesla typically sells off after earnings. I did give you guys a warning about Tesla potentially falling to some very low levels, and that is what ended up playing out. With Tesla selling off like this, watch our resistance very close towards this 182 range. If we try to get above that, we could get back to 184. But if anything, we're still very, very weak. We're kind of shuffling in that area. If we start selling off even more, watch 180. If we lose that, I think it's going to come all the way down to 175 within the next day or so. So honestly, guys, it's very, very oversold. It should try to bounce tomorrow, hopefully, but there's no guarantees yet because we have to still kind of escape this capitulation that Tesla has entered. So you want to be very careful. But if anything, Tesla still looks weak. It's still maintaining this low level, and it's just shuffling in the 182s. It might just continue to shuffle between 182 and 180 for the rest of the day. We'll have to see how it looks by close to determine what's going to happen for tomorrow. Don't forget, PCE data comes out 1 hour before market open for tomorrow. So if you want to hold overnight, it's your choice. If not, just be very patient. But just know Tesla's looking very weak still. It's just shuffling in the lower levels. For Nvda, I said Nvda might push this high 628, then reject back down to 616. And that's very close to what panned out for today. Nvidia might just shuffle for the rest of the day within this range. Watch support at 612 to 613. 616 is now our support. And then above that, we have this resistance up here at this 622 area. If anything, Nvidia might just remain range bound for the rest of the day, not really doing a whole lot. Might just shuffle, but expect a big move tomorrow morning, depending on PCE. Finally, for Aapl stock, Aapl attempted to break this high. It was trying to break out. It ended up failing, got smacked back down, and now it's shuffling in the 194s. We actually came below 195, which is a sign of weakness. And if anything, Aapl is just range bound. It's just going back and forth, not really achieving anything too significant. So with that being said, it has been stuck. It's not really doing anything that's too crazy. And the best thing to do is just watch your ranges very carefully. If we lose 194.4, watch support at 193.5. If we lose that, our next target is going to be 192.5. Resistance, watch 195. If you break that, 195.7 to 196 is next, basically. Aapl has been range bound, kind of stuck, so we'll just see how it goes. But with that being said, please have a great day, guys. Remain calm, cool, and collected. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, and peace out.